When people talk about how fragile the chip supply chain is, they point at the machines. The billion-dollar fabs, the lithography scanners, the island of Taiwan. That instinct is wrong, or at least incomplete. Some of the tightest single points of failure in chip making aren't machines at all. They're boring industrial gases with names you'd skim past on a shipping manifest. So here's the question. How does a war in Eastern Europe reach inside a chip plant on the other side of the planet and slow it down? Not through electricity, not through shipping lanes, through a colorless gas that most people only associate with signs in bar windows. Deep ultraviolet lithography is still the workhorse behind the great majority of chips made today. That includes most of the analog parts, the power chips, the legacy silicon sitting in your car and your washing machine. Those systems run on excimer lasers, and an excimer laser needs a noble gas as its working medium. One of those gases is semiconductor-grade neon. Now, where do you get neon? You don't mine it. You pull it out of the air, and the air is only about 18 parts per million neon, which means the only economic way to produce it is to run enormous air separation units and catch the neon as a byproduct while you're really making oxygen and nitrogen at industrial scale. And that's where a historical accident takes over. The Soviet Union built huge air separation capacity to feed its steel industry, and a lot of that plant ended up inside Ukraine. Two companies, one in Odessa and one in Mariupol, grew into major suppliers of semiconductor-grade neon for the world's chipmakers. Their share of global supply was commonly reported at roughly half before 2022. The invasion in 2022 took that capacity offline. Reported neon prices rose several times over, and companies that had treated a purified gas as a commodity line item found out it was a strategic input with one geographic origin. The industry adapted faster than a lot of people expected. Purification capacity expanded in China, the United States, Korea, and elsewhere. Buyers signed longer contracts, prices came back down. So it's fixed, right? That's the comfortable conclusion, and it's the wrong one. The structural problem never went away. Neon, krypton, and xenon are byproducts. Their supply is set by how much oxygen and nitrogen heavy industry wants, not by how many chips the world wants. Nobody builds an air separation unit to make neon. If heavy industry contracts, the byproduct contracts right along with it. And neon isn't alone. Helium for cooling and leak detection. Specialty etchants where a small handful of plants supply the entire world. A fire at one specialty chemical site or an export restriction on one product has repeatedly rippled straight into fab schedules. These are not exotic failures. They keep happening. Why not just substitute something cheaper? Because the limit here is physics, not price. The laser needs a gas mixture that fluoresces at one specific wavelength. Swap in an alternative and you don't get the same photons. On top of that, the purity requirements are brutal. Contamination at parts per billion matters. A new supplier isn't a new purchase order, it's a qualification program. Meanwhile, look at what the politics focuses on. Export control fights and subsidy packages are almost entirely about tools and fabs. Those things are visible and expensive, so they get press conferences and national strategies. Consumables are cheap per unit, which makes them invisible in a bill of materials, right up until you can't get them. My take is simple. Fragility hides in the cheap line items. A lithography scanner costs about as much as an airliner and gets a national security document written about it. The gas inside it costs a rounding error, and its main source was one country. So if you want to find the next shortage before it finds you, stop looking at what's expensive. Look for whatever is cheap, purified to absurd standards, and made in one place as a byproduct of something else entirely.